Alrighty guys, this is Snugs on Blitz, and I'm back with another video for you today. So I want to do a little bit of a mini series here on how to go from not a great player to a very good or maybe a great player. But at first we need to establish a baseline, and that means understanding the numbers. Okay. Now I've had a few people leave comments on my YouTube videos basically saying, hey, I'm a 40% player, but I'm much better than that. Or, hey, I'm a 40% player, but I'm often at the top of the leaderboard and I do 2,000 damage. And yeah, it's just I've had bad teams. There's all sorts of things people say. And I've heard it all before because I've played this game for a while. I've talked to people and people will say to me, I know how to play. But when I look through their stats, it tells a different story. And if you want to become a better player, you have to accept where you are right now. Numbers tell a story. And to dismiss that is just crazy. If you're over the age of 14, just accept it. And let's learn, right? I mean, I wasn't great. I started out like a complete fool, running around, doing a little bit of damage and dying hilariously. But I got better. I learned. I listened. I asked questions. And people helped me. So I'm trying to help you guys, actually. Call me crazy, right? So here's one of those comments that a guy left me. If you want to read it, you can just pause the video. Now remember, it really depends on who's judging you, right? A 70% player will say a 60% player has a lot to learn. A 60% player will say a 50% player has a lot to learn. So just understand that it really depends on, who's judging you. I'm going to give you my assessment. I'm not the best player in the world, far from it. I make tons of mistakes, but I think I can help many people improve. Guys, you might be saying, well, I'll never reach 50% or I'll never reach 60%. Guys, come on. I knew somebody who had his son play this game. He was 6 years old. 6. He had a 55% win rate. He'd do 2,000 damage in tier 10. He could play tank destroyers, lights, mediums, whatever. He had a 14-game win streak, and at one point, he had the world record in one tank. He was 6. Guys, come on. Anyway, for me, when I look at someone's stats, I care about 3 things, and 3 things only. I don't care about W8 stats, W7 stats. Some pros really do. I could care less. I care about, number 1, experience. Number 2, win rate. Number 3, tanks you use. I've seen people have 60%, but they've only got 2,000 battles. That doesn't tell me you're a good player. It shows me that you're probably a reroll account, and you've been playing against bots for a while, which allows you to pad your stats easily. You could also have 60% at 10,000 battles, but you only play tiers 3 and 4 and 5. You're a seal clubber. There's a word for it. That does not make you a good player. I'm looking for someone with 5,000 to 10,000 battles to get a true assessment of just how good they are. So anyway, let's jump into what I consider the different types of levels of players here. The first level is 39% and under. To be at this level, you have to be either an absolute fool, a complete troll, have the worst Wi-Fi in history, or be blind as a bat. I'm sorry. It's just so hard to get 39%. The next level up are the 40 to 42% players. Essentially, they don't know how to play. They're not using their tanks correctly, they're YOLOing, tunneling, they've got horrible positioning, they don't use the shells correctly, they don't understand gun depression, they don't understand the different map positions, all sorts of things. So, yeah, if you're in that group, you got a lot to learn. Next group, 43 to 45. Yeah, you're still pretty bad. But that being said, you've started to understand how to play some tanks decently well, because to get to 45%, you probably have some tanks around 48, 49, and other tanks around 41, 42. So you're kind of understanding some tanks, but not most tanks. Next, 45 to 48. Now this, in my experience, is probably average for the game. This makes you an average player. Obviously, the 48 is a little bit better than the 45% player, and the 48% player will have more tanks, around the 50, maybe 51, even 52% mark. But they'll also have more tanks below that mark, so that pulls them down. But they're starting to grasp a few tanks decently well. Next level, 49 to 51. Now this, I would say, they're a decent player. Now you're actually understanding how to platoon, you're understanding the positioning well, you're understanding some tanks, again, better than others. Maybe you focus on one style of tank, like the tank destroyer or heavy tanks, but you don't really get mediums yet, but you're kind of getting it. That's where I was for a long time. I was okay, Next, 52 to 55. Now I think you're kind of good because, you have to have some tanks probably above that, around 58, but some tanks lower, around maybe 49, that are pulling you down. So some tanks you're actually getting quite good at, but you're still not grasping it, in every tank. But I would seriously say, people would enjoy platooning with you most of the time, unless they're maybe super pros and expect to win every game. Next, 55 to 58. I think you're a very good player. Yeah, you're going to make mistakes, like everybody does, but you really understand how to play most tanks, okay? You have a lot of tanks in the 60%, some, in the low 50s, maybe one or two in the 40s that you just hated. After that, you've got 58 to 62%. Excellent. If you're up here, congratulations. You're a great player. You're really a great player, and much respect to you, because it's hard to get there. Next, 62 to 65. I consider this pro, pretty much pro. You're an awesome player. Wow, much respect. Now, I have some tanks that are in that realm. I have some tanks that are even higher than that, but it's hard to do it consistently with every tank. It really is. So much respect to them. Now remember, in the next part of this series, I'm going to explain how to move up from these different ranks, okay? And I'm not going to be able to help you get to become a super pro, because that is over 65%. And I don't know how people do that in every tank that they play. It's just incredible to me. I just don't have the patience for it. I don't care enough to do that. I just want to enjoy the game and have a good time. Yes, I enjoy winning, but I don't need to win every game. Yeah, I'll lose 4 in a row, 5 in a row sometimes. Is it frustrating? Sure, but it's not the end of the world. It's just a dang game. And that's what one guy wrote to me and said, hey, I don't like people complaining about, 40% players. It's a dang game, get over it. I completely agree with that. It is a game. But as other people said, every game is more enjoyable when you do better at it. That's just how we are programmed, basically. Unless you're a troll and just want to piss people off. That's possible too. Anyway, so as I said, this is part 1 in my series to understand where you stand right now, okay? So this is just my opinion, guys. Other people will see things differently, but that's how I judge people, and many of my friends, we seem to agree, so I think I'm on the right track. They're better than I am, so, yeah. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the game, and now you know where you stand. I hope you come back for the next part in the series to help you improve, where I'll be focusing on the lower end of the spectrum, and hopefully share some tips on how to improve there. And we'll work our way through the ranks. Okay, guys? That's all I got for you. I'll see you next time. Snugs on Blitz, out.